On this episode of the MacGyver After Show, we're breaking... Hey everybody, on this episode of the MacGyver After Show, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 12, Screwdriver. This is a game changer, guys. Let's get into it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, yes, going old school. That's right.
Bring it back old school. Always.
There you go. Zach in the booth made the call. How can you argue with that sweet classic 80s tune?
Not at all.
You can't. Welcome everybody to the MacGyver After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. We, of course, are breaking down every episode of Season 1 of the 2016, now 2017 version of
2017
MacGyver.
it is.
Yes,
Here
look
we
at
are.
that.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes,
Good
we
to be
had a
back.
little winter break, but now MacGyver's back. That means we're back.
Of course.
Because we love you, folks. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Brand. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
And I'm your other host.
That's right.
I'm Mike Kalinowski. You can find me at Mike Kalinowski.
Oh, look at that. Check that
Pretty
out.
simple.
Yes.
No one's going to claim that name.
Why wouldn't they? It's
I don't
a great
know.
name.
On my website, I have a guy every couple months he emails me wanting to buy the name. I don't know. I mean, he sends me these random emails because there's a contact place in my website, and I get an email from him. He's like, "You're interested in selling it?" And every 6 months he does this.
Do you ever ask, tease him with, well, what's your offer?
No, I don't.
No?
I could, but I don't.
Well, how much would he have to pay you that you would sell that website?
Probably wouldn't sell it.
You wouldn't?
Well, yeah, there's always a number.
Okay, what's your number? I'm just curious. How much?
I don't know, 10 grand?
All right.
I'd say 10 grand.
That's all you... You're selling yourself short, Mike. That's what I'm
Aw, thanks. See, now I don't know. Now I know for future reference. We can get more out of it. I've had it forever. I think I've had it since... I'm one of those guys that sells AOL.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was at the boom of the internet when it first started.
An early adopter, as they like to say.
And I've kept it, so...
There you go. On the ground floor.
Yeah, I bought my name early on. Again, it has nothing to do with MacGyver. So.
No, but let's get right into it. As I said right there in the tease, this is a game changer episode.
You know, it goes to the test, and I watched it today, and it caught me off guard completely because I had no idea what was going in. Although the actor that plays Murdoch, his name was in the opening credits, so I was like, okay, Murdoch's in it. But it goes to what I've always said. I talk about in the DC panel when we talk about those shows. A first season of a show always hits its stride in the middle of the season. This to me was by far the best episode so far.
Yeah, and it was interesting that because before the break we were teased hey, guess what? When it comes back for the winter part of the season, Murdoch's going to be in there, Nikki's going to be in there. So I was expecting oh man, that's going to be awesome. And interesting how they used Murdoch in this episode. Not what I was expecting. I
had forgotten how that they did capture him at that one episode. I've forgotten about that. So they got him, and then he's held out. He's their guy now. He's in the kind of like a kind of Hannibal Lecter-ish.
Yeah.
Where he's there, and they got to go to him for info and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool to have him around when they need him. He's there.
Yeah, I guess I do have some thoughts about the end of the episode when we find out certain things that happen. So I'll ask you about your feelings about that.
At the end or now?
I guess at the end.
Yeah,
we'll kind of break it through. So I guess we just start off, and I really liked the way that this episode kicked off, where we see Jack. He's in restraints. He's getting sodium pentothal pumped through his veins, and some terrorist guy comes in and starts asking him questions, and Jack just starts kind of spilling the beans.
Yeah, into the truth serum. He was falling victim to it.
Yeah,
I think he's the kind of a guy that's probably gotten it before. He's been given the truth serum before, so he knows what the deal is. He's like, I can fight this, but it's going to be painful. Well, I'm just gonna tell you what you know because I got my guy coming. We're gonna get you.
Yeah.
It's not like he's stuck somewhere by himself. I gotta take one for the team and I can't say anything and fight this as long as I can. He knows this guy's going down. So he's having some fun with him.
I liked him singing "Shoot."
I really like the whole episode. I really like Jack in this episode. Sometimes he grates on me, the character, because I feel like he's playing a characterization of this kind of character, but I don't know, because of what later we find out about him. We had more on his backstory, and it fleshed him out as a character to me. He wasn't just kind of a one-dimensional tough guy. He had a lot of different layers today, and I think I enjoyed everything about this episode. I want more of this going forward.
Definitely, I like the episodes where they show Jack. He gets to wear his heart on his sleeve. You get to see the guy who's gotten his heart broken, and he's letting parts of his life go away, and he's kind of sad about that. And I just like that moment when you get to see George Eads just kind of emote.
Yeah, because he's a great actor.
Yeah,
he's a very good actor, and I don't know if the role. Some episodes we've seen in the past, he's allowed to go down that way. But this was a great all around with every character in this episode got like great scenes and great stuff to do. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. This is one I would love to show people like that haven't been a part of it. But I mean, there's so much history building up to this. You know, it's not like one of those episodes where like if you've never seen the show, this is the episode to catch up on.
Yeah,
because it's a good gateway into the series. This is not one of those because I think it pays off because we know all past 11 episodes.
And do you feel like those 11 episodes that they needed to kind of lay those out to kind of tweak the formula and find their way to this one?
Yeah, it's every show. You know, the biggest one for me that always sticks out is Arrow. The first half of that show, first season, was really kind of like, oh man, they're trying too hard to be Batman, and it didn't get to around episode, I think it was 18. That's the one where it really kicked off and just found its footing. Because the writers got to find a voice for the actors, and those actors, what they bring to the table, the writers say, oh, they really are good at this, they excel at this, they do this, and they can tailor the scripts to them by that point. And I think they find the whole crew, of course, works together, so behind the scenes as well, so they know. It's amazing on shows like this. The director is always that odd guy out that comes in. That crew that crew works together. The stunt team, it's the director every episode that's different. So they're the guy that usually comes in and is the odd guy out. So this crew, you could tell, they're hitting their stride. They know it works for them, and the writers definitely found the voice for the characters.
Yeah, they tweaked it. And I'd love to know the behind-the-scenes workings from the beginning of the season up until like episode 9 or so, where they pulled the trigger on Bozer finding out about what the whole deal is with Jack, Riley, and Mac and the Phoenix Foundation. And kind of getting. Do you want to know? I mean, was this always going to happen, or were they like, yeah, we're going nowhere with this character? Because we've talked about that. We were like, yes.
I don't know if they would have planned to do this, just because I think eventually he would have been, but I think because we were even saying, he's like, oh man, okay, here we go, beginning of the episode, they're in his apartment, and then we'll see him at the end. It became formulaic so early on.
Yes.
You know, and we were both. I remember that one episode we were like, oh, this has got to go. Something's got to happen here.
For sure. And when they did it, it was great.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, because I know he was on Rush Hour last season, whether he was like a late addition to the cast, and so they didn't know quite exactly how to work him in.
Yeah.
And they needed a few episodes to kind of figure it out.
I want to say he was definitely an addition, not in the original pilot that they shot. Remember, they had to reshoot that whole pilot? He was a new addition. Because they kept George Eads and Lucas. They kept the two of them, recast everyone else. And so he was one of the guys that they brought in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So we started this episode with Jack being held up there and talking to this guy saying, hey, my boy Mac. He describes everything with the Phoenix Foundation, breaks down everybody, and then saves it to the end for his boy Mac. And I just like him just sliding a couple notes right under the door.
That was good. That was fun. Because it built the tension of the boogeyman on the other side of the door. You know, this guy doesn't know who's going to be over there. Is it a giant military guy or who it is? But it built that tension really nicely.
And the way it does, red penning and chocolate
syrup, not the good kind, as you said, not the whatever, and the red ink. I was like, nah, that's not going to work.
Well, because it's interesting, like, how does a man who's kind of avoids firearms intimidate somebody?
You know, I for a second, I'm watching it going, oh, there was a guard there or something maybe he used as a shield. But then I was like, and once he realized it, I was like, why didn't you just use another guy on the outside? And I was like, oh, Mac he's against violence. He doesn't, that's not his thing. So I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think about it. I mean, that goes to my mind of when I see in movies like this. Bad guy shoots through the door and he kills one of his own men. You know, you see that all. And again, that goes to the show of they have a nice way of flipping what you always expect to happen. Because you've seen these situations countless times in different TV shows and movies. And the trope is always, the guy's being truth serum, and a guy comes in and shoots through the window or through the door, and they're always killing their coworker or whatever. The poor guy that was supposed to be guarding the door, he's dead.
Like, oh, no, what?
But they didn't. So it was good. Good. I mean, I enjoyed it.
And it was interesting because as Jack is saying to Mac, like, he drugged me out. I told him everything about the Phoenix Foundation. Is Thornton going to be mad at me? And like, no, he's going to be in jail. Like, just because he's in jail doesn't mean he can't talk to people.
Yeah, he's got his lawyer visit.
Yeah, I mean, he can spread all that information. So I don't know what they can do to make sure that none of that information.
Well, he's a real bad guy, so maybe he's going high security, some kind of supermax person next to Murdoch.
And just a piece of masking tape over his mouth.
One thing I did notice, I don't think he really created much in this episode. And I loved it. It didn't rely on that. And I didn't realize it till the end of the episode. I was like, wow, he did the blood. And when they were in not the church, but in that safe house to get rid of the guys, the military guys, they created fake explosions, right? Like some kind of
put like spaghetti in the oven and stuff.
Yeah. Other than that, he didn't really do much.
No,
and it still worked great. So I like, again, that's a testament to we like the characters now. We like who they are. We don't need to rely on the crux of what MacGyver is.
Yes,
essentially.
Not every episode needs to be that heavy. Sometimes it's great to maybe have a very heavy episode like that. Right. But it's nice to know that it's flexible enough that you can do those episodes that are kind of light.
It was because sometimes on the show it feels like they're making something just to make something when this could have. They're doing A, B, and C when just A to C would have worked.
Yes.
And I feel this episode was great. They weren't trying to shoehorn in anything.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And so we get back to LA, of course, and I like that MacGyver just works on his bike right there inside his place, right there on the floor. Yeah, he's got hardwood floors. Just let's work on the bike inside.
He's got an interesting pad.
Yeah,
kind of outdoorsy, woodsy. Looks like a log cabin. But, working on his bike.
And, of course, there's a knock on the door, and they have a moment there, and I just wanted to see what you thought about that, where they talk about house rules. Because MacGyver's underneath the bike, and there's a knock, and he says, hey, Jack, go get the door because I'm kind of occupied.
Yeah.
And Jack says, no, it's house rules. It's your house. You have to answer the door.
Right.
Do you ascribe to that theory?
Well, if my buddy's doing something, I'll get the door for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or it's his place. Nope, you got to do it. Whatever you're doing.
I'm not one of those. What I would view is I'm a guest in his house. He wants me to get the door for him, I'll get the door for him.
Okay.
I'm the guest.
But would you wait until he asked, or would
I
you
wouldn't just
go?
get up and get the door. No.
No.
It's on my house.
All right.
It's kind of like answering the phone.
You just walk over, just answer.
Hey, Mike, can you get that phone? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not ring, ring, ring. It's like, hello, hey, it's for you. It's like, that's kind of rude.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of stepping over the line.
I'm the kind of guy I'm at someone's house, I'll ask if I can use their bathroom. Like, I just don't go to the bathroom. It's like, may I use your restroom?
Yeah, that's true. I'm much the same way as well. Yeah, but I'll sleep in their bed. I just walk in without asking. No, I'll just take it over and make them sleep somewhere else.
Okay.
So Mac does go and answer the door.
Yeah.
Or Jack does go and answer the door. And who's waiting? It's Sarah. Amy Acker from earlier in the episode that was kind of like Jack's, the one that got away.
Now, this is early in the season, this character, right?
Yes.
Because I did not see that. I must not have seen that episode.
I know that may have been during your Halloween sabbatical.
Yeah,
yes.
because when she showed up, because it was a weird, like, why is this awkward with them? Like, why is this big thing between the two of them at the door with her standing there? Like, should I have known who this character is? But I didn't care because I love Amy Acker.
Yes.
Love that actress.
Yeah, she's great.
She's phenomenal.
Mac and Jack did a big rescue operation because she was captured somewhere else, so they had to go
now
to
I've got to go back and watch that one.
Yep. Secure, and that's really kind of learn the backstory between Jack and Sarah, and she was the one that Jack kind of let get away.
That now it's kind of cool because I did not know any of that, but I didn't need to.
No.
That 1 minute in the door with them, I thought it was maybe... Oh, it's some kind of military op person coming from MacGyver. Like, we got trouble because this is a big wig in the military.
Yeah.
So I got that, and which she was. She's, whatever, she's CIA, FBI. But I didn't. Their whole history was fleshed out for me. I had and maybe that's a testament to the two actors.
I thought they
felt the history with them
for sure.
Yeah.
And the reason she's come is because she knows where Nikki is. And that's been the kind of thread throughout this whole
thorn
season.
in the side.
Yes. So we head over to the Phoenix Foundation where she's she briefs the whole team on what the deal is, and they figure out that they have an area where there's a dead drop's going to happen, and they know that Nikki's going to be there, and so she got permission to recruit Jack and Mac to help out. And of course, Jack's like, "Thanks, we got it.
We'll handle this.
Yeah,
we're the boys. We got this."
Because the deal is, of course, Sarah's getting married in a week, and Jack doesn't want to be responsible for her maybe missing her wedding.
And she got invited,
and didn't answer the invite.
Now this is interesting. Okay, so we got an ex-girlfriend, long history. We're in love. She invited him to the wedding.
Do you think that's inappropriate?
I don't know. I just my ex-girlfriend just got engaged New Year's. I don't think I'm going to be invited to the wedding.
Are you on good terms with her?
Yeah, not bad terms. We don't talk
Yeah.
very much. You know, we'll get text every now and then saying hello, or you know, hey, I was at this place and saw a Batman poster and I thought of you, or something like that. No ill will. I'm very, you know, happy. It's not like one of those. I've heard, you know, she's getting married. No, it's a. But I don't plan on getting an invitation, and if I get married in a week, you know, a year or whatever, I'm not going to send her one.
Oh, do you have something to announce, Mike?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No,
Just checking.
no.
Just checking.
But so it was very weird. It's like, oh, she's inviting him.
Well, okay, so what?
So that was my thoughts. I was like, oh.
Now, what if you did get invited? Would you go?
No.
Would you respond at all and decline, or just never respond at all?
Yes. See, Jack was being the tough guy and not responding. I would have said, hey, I appreciate the invite. Let me know where you're registered. I'll buy a gift.
Yeah.
But I will not be there.
Would you look at this
again? It's for the guy. You know, it's the ex-boyfriend. But he was cool. He was like, you remember the ex-boyfriend's like, oh, invite him, please. Or the new husband.
Yeah.
Is like, invite him.
A man very secure in what he's got.
Yeah, very secure.
Yeah.
I don't know if he should be so secure at the very end there. We'll get to that.
Yes.
That glance.
Yep. Do you feel like, as Jack does, like since they kind of like fate kind of put them in the same place, that maybe this is a sign like, hey, maybe.
Yeah, I do. She's popping in his life. And I don't think this character is going. She's going to be around. She's going to be like a Murdoch. She's a recurring guest star on this show.
Yeah. I did like that Jack was giving Sarah a hard time. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, maybe we'll see, see what happens.
Yeah,
here.
it's like, he's Jack. He knows what he's doing.
I did like that little scene between them, and I did like that Thornton kind of,
I like the glass that they got in this room.
Yes.
Cool.
And Bozer's like, it's even soundproof too.
Yeah.
And for somebody that, as we've talked about before, just not really enjoying Bozer's use so far. This episode, these last few episodes, but this one in particular, great to see how he incorporates in an actual Phoenix Foundation episode.
When we get more forward, that's probably my favorite scene in the episode, and we'll talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. Really like that. So they said, like, all right, guess what? Nikki's gonna, Sarah's gonna come with us to go get Nikki. Hooray!
Yeah. They're going on a trip.
Yeah. So while Jack, Sarah, and Nikki, Jack, Sarah, and Mac are heading over to get Nikki, we've got Riley and Bozer just kind of hanging back, kind of being support.
They're kind of the tech support.
Yeah, which is okay. That seems appropriate.
Yep.
And so they basically find her at the dead drop, and I thought it was interesting because they get there ahead of her, and they kind of sit there in the confessional, Jack and Mac, and have a little conversation, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And then I felt like they did a really poor job of covering all the exits, because Nikki walks in and then runs out.
First of all, I was like, why is she running?
Yeah.
Because we find out in a little bit she was expecting this.
Yes.
So why'd she run?
True.
And they did a terrible job of covering the exits.
Yeah.
The two of them were right next to each other. So that's
yeah, it's like
two guys you're using to cover one thing.
That was so poorly done.
Yeah, but they catch them in the kitchen. You know, every it was a church, right? Yeah, because they were in confessionals. They got a kitchen down below.
And for some reason, do you think just screaming her name is going to make her just stop? Like, because you've said her name, like, all right, you said my name, I guess I'll stop.
I didn't get why she ran, because as we find out,
yes,
she was the one that set this all up, because she says the code.
Yes. Was it Ateria Pedimus Bravo 7, which is, I guess, is an agency code phrase, which means you're a deep cover agent for the CIA.
She's pulling old Leo DiCaprio in The Departed.
Yes.
She's like deep cover that no one knows.
No, look at that. And so
very cool. I was like, okay. Okay, let me ask you this. Did you feel right away as like, oh, now she's playing him, or, oh, okay, she is? Because that deep cover code thing that they use as like, and Jack and Amy Acker, Sarah knew instantly. They both knew what that was. So it's kind of an interagency. You know of stuff like this. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I figured, man, that was an interesting twist, and I was willing to buy that more than not saying like, oh, it's a twist within a twist. Like, she's just using it, but she's still really bad.
Yeah.
So I was willing to buy that she was what she said she was.
I was too. There wasn't a time in the episode where I'm kind of like, oh, she's playing him.
Yeah.
I just didn't. Yeah.
No, it didn't seem like that. And but even though, especially Jack and Sarah are definitely very reluctant to buy into her story.
Right.
But she tells them that 6 months ago at Lake Como that she was recruited by the CIA, and everybody's mad at her, like, well, you released a virus. And she said, no, that was part of my audition that I had to do to get in this organization.
It's kind of like the kill 100 to save 1,000 type scenario.
And
because she's doing this because someone in the United States government is funding this mole, right?
Yes.
That's what it is.
And she was able to convince the CIA to let her do that because you got MacGyver there, and she knew that he would never let that virus get out.
Yeah, it's like,
so.
He's like, why'd you do that? And he's like, well, I knew Mac was sending me there.
Yeah.
I knew it wouldn't get out.
Sounds like, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she tells him like there is a mole inside the intelligence community known by Chrysalis.
At first, I thought you said it was Christmas. I was like, that is awesome. Christmas is the code name for this mole. Fantastic. But then I was like, chrysalis. I was like, oh.
That's not as cool.
Because a chrysalis is like a cocoon. It's like a...
Yeah, when you're going through that,
something else.
You're turning into a butterfly. Big, beautiful butterfly.
Christmas would have been better. Sorry, writers.
And so once they found out, though, that Murdoch got unleashed on Mac and everything was turning very dangerous for the people that she cared about, she wanted out. And, of course, as soon as she told her handler, 2 days later he was killed. And so now there's nobody that knows.
No one believes her.
Yeah, that she's really deep cover.
But she said, you have the key to the lockbox that has all of my data.
Yes.
We got to get that.
We got to go do that. And so they tell, Max says to Riley and Bozer, guess what? Don't tell Thornton that we're doing this because all she's going to do is make us bring
And that
Nikki
is
in.
believable.
Yeah.
That you do believe. A lot of times when they kind of go off reservation, as they would say, against their superiors, you're like, they would tell them. But this, you're like, Thornton would absolutely end the op right away, knowing that Nikki was there.
Yeah, I feel like that she's just screwing around with him.
Yeah.
You can't buy anything that is worth saying, so you just bring her back.
So that
here,
was
then
very
we'll deal with
smart.
it. Yes. And then Bozer says, well, because Riley says, like, well, I don't even know what kind of searches to do about this organization because anything I type could trip them.
Right.
About Chrysalis. So Bozer, I thought, awesome idea. He goes, well, why don't we talk to somebody that we already have from the organization? Well, let's talk to Murdoch.
Yeah. That's good.
Smart thinking.
Smart move, Bozer.
Yeah.
He's paying useful.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was an interaction. And now, the only thing that I didn't like about that interaction with Murdoch, he says, I'm missing guiding light. Like, come on, that soap opera's been off the air for years. Like,
Yeah, it has, hasn't it?
Say Bold and Beautiful. Say Young and the Restless. Why'd you say Guiding Light? That was... I don't know what the deal
I
about
didn't
that
even,
is.
I didn't even pick up on that. But that's a very good... I don't even think it's on like Netflix or anything, right?
Yeah,
and you wouldn't be missing it because you could watch it again.
Yeah.
That was bad writing.
Yes. Like, come on, guys.
Come on, guys. That's how did that get through?
Yeah.
Unless that was on, the script supervisor would not let that go on set. If he said that on set, a script supervisor would be looking at the script. Go, no, you got to keep it to Bold and Beautiful. So, no, good call on that one. I didn't pick up on that. But even just the fact that he said he was missing that, I'm kind of like, that's the old trope of a, guy kidnapped, saying, wasting my time. I'm missing out on my soaps. I'm missing out on whatever.
Yeah. And he says, guess what? If you want any information that I have, you're going to have to get me a book, Paradise Lost, from the original binding. Very incredibly hard
Window
to find.
book covering or whatever,
Yes.
leather bound and all that. No second print in hand. Or, and they said, or what? Or this. Did the old lock and key. I was like, some things that guy does I really like, but other things I'm just kind of like, and where did he dye his hair?
Yeah.
Which I think that's the actor is working on another project.
Yes. And it's like,
and they didn't want to color it back because I don't think the Phoenix Foundation's letting him get his hair changed when he's in there.
he's not dyeing it in the toilet at all?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nope, he's not doing that? Oh, all right.
So that was a little, that just, again, is a behind the scenes thing that threw me off. I'm kind of like, they didn't have pictures from his episode a couple years, months back, and they just wanted to match him what he looked like.
No, prison's hard on Murdoch.
I guess so. He's
He's
stealing lemons from the mess hall and mixing it with dishwasher.
That's right.
Bleaching his hair.
The one line that probably my favorite line of the night though was when they're making their way to the lockbox, the secure location. Yeah. They stop off over at like a gas station or whatever, and Jack and Mac are in the convenience store. They're buying
3 things.
Yes. And Jack says to Mac, like, she could be leading us into a trap. And Mac's response is, that's what the cheese puffs are for. And I thought that was just a nice little, just an aside. Like, that's what the cheese puffs are for. Like, that's what do you mean? What's that going to be for?
Yeah. And you're kind of like, oh, all right.
Yeah. And again, like, a very simple hack. Like, I was like, what are these cheese puffs? What kind of weird way are you going to use these cheese puffs? And it was just basically just to figure out what
dust.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, oh,
and
all
that
right.
was smart because, Jack's like, well, it's 4 numbers. We're going to have 5 tries. It's going to erase itself. There's thousands of combinations. And he's like, that's my birthday, which is cool.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that works.
All right. Interesting. I don't know. I've never used, I've never made any password in my life like a loved one's, like, significant, like, birth date or an anniversary date or anything like that.
But have you used yours?
No. I've never used my birth date for any of my passwords. Have you?
Maybe I should change mine.
Oh, let's break into Mike's stuff.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, nowadays everything needs a password. I have 50 million different passwords for 50 million different websites that I'm just like.
And the bad thing about it, though, is like with the computers, you can put like that auto, like they save it right there in your computer. Then it's great, but then for some reason that gets wiped, and I can't remember my password.
Yeah, no, I love the
whatever, the Touch ID.
Yeah, the biometric. I love that. That's great.
That is so cool. So they figure out, all right, they get to the cabin, and it turns out the lockbox is empty. And
and they find out when you open the phone, there were CIA codes.
Yes, deep cover login codes that a deep cover operative would have.
Those are surprising that it was on the phone.
Yeah,
I'm not a deep cover operative, so maybe they all have them on their phones.
I guess
I cannot dispute that.
Well, I'll talk to my deep cover operatives, and I'll report back next week.
Please do.
To find out the accuracy of this. But that's another maybe another sign that Nikki is, of course, telling the truth.
They're all stacking in her favor.
For sure. But of course, as I mentioned, they get to the cabin, the lockbox is empty, and immediately they're like, Nikki,
that was the one. At that point, I'm kind of like, what? Because I was like, okay, maybe she is bad. I don't want her to be. I really would like to see that she's on the side of good.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, oh, well, how are we going to explain this one?
I was expecting something to happen when that lockbox opened, like it was going to trigger like some kind of like gas or something to knock them unconscious, or some kind of small explosive that would, like a stun.
Like flashbang, or like, and then she could get out of there. But
yeah, but no, none of that happened. We just found out it was empty.
Yeah, but then they're surrounded.
Yes.
With a kill squad.
Yeah. And they just start laying fire to that cabin. And that's when we get to see really Mac's other big ingenuity there, is that he takes one of the stoves, puts like spaghetti and a couple of items in there. And then, of course, it needs to be rolled out, and it needs one great shot to make this explosion happen.
Right.
And I do like the little banter between Jack and Sarah about like who's going to take the shot.
And they had limited ammo, those two, guys. They're always counting their bullets that episode. So.
And I like that Sarah's like, I got this, no worry.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Who do you think actually hit it? Because they both fired.
Yeah, I'll go her. Yeah, the girl's always a better shot.
There you go. So the bomb goes off, and they have the idea is they're going to make a run for the car.
But Nikki got hit.
Yeah.
She gets hit.
And that's another thing that kind of falls in her favor, because that's when they realize that's a kill squad.
Yeah, but it was always like, I could see, because later they talk about it. You always see in those movies situations like that, if they're trying to cover to make it look like they're attacking, they'll always graze them.
Yeah, like kind of to help sell the cover story.
Hey, jerk off! Next time, don't shoot me so right through the leg or whatever.
Yeah.
Graze me. They always do that whole thing.
Yeah, we had to make it look realistic,
real.
man.
Yeah, we had to make it look real. So again, it was like, oh well, we still don't know.
Oh, so you were still on the fence?
I still thought. I mean, no, I was like, she's good. I think, I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah.
Because to do a double flip again, it didn't serve the story at all. Because the character was already bad.
Yes.
I don't see what they gained by gaining trust and then not.
Very much. Yeah, very true. Because then you're just like, wow, she's really a monster. Like, well, we thought she was already.
Yeah, we thought you used POS already.
Yeah. But Riley and Bozer are able to get Murdoch the book.
Yep.
In exchange, he just gives them the bank account that the organization used to put money in to pay him off for these gigs. And they figure, like, if you trace back this bank account, maybe that'll lead you to something.
Yep.
And that, it made it seem like he, like, really burned them. Like, you made a deal with the devil. What did you expect? Like, you gave a pretty good piece of intel.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's like, I think he's basically listening. What do you want, a spoon fed you? It's not gonna happen. But yeah, so I mean, all right. So, but then they find out that the bank account, what is it? What do they say? It erases after each transaction or something, or it moves
every 24 hours.
Yeah. So they're up creek without a paddle again.
Until Bozer digs back into that old family history of his.
Yeah.
And because he worked for his uncle's accounting firm.
Right.
A lot of summer filing, and he realized that in the United States they have to keep 3 years of hard copies of all transactions.
And this scene, by far, was my favorite. Like, they showed him walking in with their backs, and instantly I'm like, did he grow his hair out? And he looked like Abraham Lincoln. Like, I thought it was, but then I'm like, oh, well, they just gave him a beard and a wig, but they got a new actress to play the disguise of Riley. That's what I thought from that far shot until they got close. I was like, oh, that's prosthetics on her, and it looked great.
Yeah, that was a big
two
nose
of
on
them.
her. That was a huge nose on her.
Man, but then they had that chin.
Yeah.
But that feature, she was like, I think was she trying to be like someone that was Persian or something? Because the actresses normally, I want to say Latin. I could be completely wrong on this, but she definitely has ethnicity to her. So they switched to another ethnicity. So, but it looked kind of comical, but not.
No, and it was cool.
It was like, I've seen people with big noses before like that, but yeah, the chin, it just looked great. That makeup job was phenomenal.
And you get to see like another one of Bozer's contributions there with his makeup background. So able to come up with those prosthetics.
But him with that, it wasn't an afro, but it wasn't like his normal short hair.
Yeah.
And he had that beard. I just thought it was great. I thought, I loved it. I loved the two of them together. Like, I love seeing those guys together.
They look great. So while they're doing that, though, the rest of the crew is in a 5-star hotel in Carmel, California.
The honeymoon suite.
Yeah, the honeymoon suite. The idea is they're going to, because Nikki's supposedly out in the cold.
Yeah.
The Chrysalis doesn't realize that Nikki may have made a copy of this. She doesn't know that Nikki hasn't have a copy. So the idea is we're going to arrange a face-to-face meeting. We'll find Chrysalis. We'll get him right there. We'll secure him, and then we're boom. Bob's your uncle.
That was a little weird to me. She just uses the computer in the hotel, and like she had some kind of weird screen up. I'm like,
I mean, I guess she's.
I guess you could,
she's like Riley, so I could buy that.
Yeah.
So while they're doing that, Jack and Sarah on the balcony having a little
balcony,
talk.
little heart to heart. There was a giant moon. That moon was ridiculously huge.
There was
in that scene. But I liked it. It added to it, and they almost have a little romantic tete-a-tete.
But look at Jack being a gentleman at the very end. Look at that.
He stopped. I really thought he was going to go for it.
Yep.
I was like, oh, he's going for it.
No, I think.
But he's not. So Jack.
Because I think if she had moved in, I don't think he would have fought it.
I don't know. Jack to me is the kind of guy. He talks a good game, but when it comes down to it, I think he's a really good guy at heart.
Yeah.
I think he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't make. Yeah, I don't think he would. But he didn't.
Yeah, but I think if she in that moment said, you know what, I made a mistake. I should be with you. I'm going to call this marriage off.
And then he probably would have said, all right, but when you're done, then I'll be here. How does that sound more like a cowboy? I don't know what that was.
George?
He's kind of like a cowboy.
George? Yeah, very true.
His character is kind of cowboy.
Yeah.
That's my terrible Jack Dalton.
George Eads was in the room, everybody, right there. I loved it.
Not to change the subject or anything, but speaking of George Eads, gets his hair cut by the girl that cuts my hair. I didn't realize it. I get my hair cut, same girl I've been going to for like 5 years since I moved to L.A. During holiday break, she sends a picture. She's like, look who's back in town with him. And I was like, wait, he's your guy that cuts your hair? Or you cut his hair? He's like, yeah, because he's been in Atlanta for 6-7 months.
Wow.
So she cut his hair. So I was like, when is he going to be back after the show? Maybe I talk to him. You think he'll want to come in? Who knows? We might get lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring him in.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll try and make it work maybe after the season's over.
Holy cow. You never realized
I don't know why I thought of that right now, but I just did.
That's all?
Yeah, it happened over the holidays. Maybe because we haven't been here, but I was like, saw this picture. I was like, there we go. And she's a great friend of mine, and I think they're good friends. So I think maybe, maybe we'll get him in as a guest.
That would be, gosh, that'd be awesome. If we do that, we should just go and get our hair cut just like him for the interview.
The faux hawk?
Yep, let's do it.
I think we could pull it off. Mine might look a little ridiculous. You got short hair, right? Mine's a little longer on top, but
I'm already sporting it kind of close on the back and side. So I think
you're looking. If you do a little thing like that, you could pull it off.
All right, we'll do it.
We'll do it.
Like that's.
Well, you think we're making fun of him?
He wants to do an interview with two knuckleheads that have got the same haircut as him.
Look at he'll come as like, look at these chuckleheads.
Like, guys, I'm turning around. See you later, guys. I'm out.
I didn't mean to segue, but
No, that was a great segue.
That's my childlike brain. It just goes off on tangents.
No, those are the segues that are gold right there.
We're gonna make it work, guys. This is awesome. But anyway, so they have their little tete-a-tete outside,
and Nikki and Mac have a little Mac out session there.
A Mac out session, and they did. The next morning was post-coitus. We'll say post-coital.
Yes,
because Jack notices.
Oh, Jack notices. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, through the episode, he's treating Nikki pretty much like garbage. Like she's pretty much like dead to him.
Mac is?
No, Nikki is. Jack is treating Nikki like
yes. Mac is like a puppy dog.
Oh yeah,
he gets around her. He's like a puppy dog.
Yeah, and Jack's like, you don't get to say Nikki, so shut up.
Yeah. Not what you did to my boy. Not what you did to my boy.
No, not a huge fan. He's loyal. He's loyal to Mac.
Yep.
So they're waiting in the hotel. Like this is gonna be it, but they've been waiting for an hour for Chrysalis to show up, and nothing's happened.
Nothing.
Then all of a sudden, all these guards come in, and they're like, oh man, here we go again. And then Thornton runs in because they realize these are guys from the Phoenix Foundation.
That's what I love first. Before Thornton shows up, they're like, wait a minute, we know these guys.
Yeah.
And I love that because they're a small unit. They probably have, the team of those guys, but then they probably have their tactical team, and they probably know all the tactical team. It would be nice if in certain episodes earlier we got like a head of the tactical squad, like Sergeant Jones. And every now and then after a mission when they're cleaning up, there's a little exchange between a couple of them. So that's just another character added in. I think that would be really cool. A lot of shows have those guys that eventually become a little bit bigger parts of the show, but again, that's not a focus of the show, so you really need it. But it's cool that they recognized him.
That moment, were you right there thinking like, all right, this is what the deal is for this episode when Thornton walks in?
No,
you still weren't in.
No, do you mean what happened at the end?
Yes.
No, I was like, she's always one step ahead of them. She knows these guys. They're off the reservation. Bozer and Riley are gone somewhere. All right, gig is up. I'm bringing you back in. You were done at that point.
At that point, I was like, man, that they're doing this? Holy cow!
No, I didn't get it until the very end.
Wow. All right. So while
I'm naive like that, there's so many movies that happen where my friends are like, I saw the twist at the first 20 minutes. I was like, you did? Like 7.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was,
What's in the box?
Well, not even that. No, that I knew, but like the Kevin Spacey and.
Oh yeah.
I'm just blind. I don't know. I don't know if I go in with blinders or I'm just not picking up on it.
No, you just that's a great way to go into a film that way.
I love it. Yeah. That's why I was out in public somewhere watching this on my phone, and I was like, oh, when that happened, I was like, no, did they just do that?
It was crazy.
Are we jumping into it right now?
Well, yeah. So we see that Thornton shuts down the operation there, and while she's shutting that down, arresting Nikki. She's saying, you know what, we've got communications between her and the organization. She's reached out 3 times during this. This is all just a big con she's running in, you guys.
And the way that they portrayed Nikki in that scene and her acting and the way she was looking, I was like, oh, she's not it. She didn't sell them out.
Yeah, for sure.
That was like, oh, she's like, there's nothing she could have said in that situation to make Mac believe her after everything what she's been through with them. But you could see the desperation with her. You're like, oh, she's not bad. She is good, and something's going on.
Yeah, and you could tell the way that Mac was looking at her that he was realizing that too.
Yeah.
I think, But while they're doing that, the last piece of the puzzle is in New York. They actually go to that institution. We talked about the makeup there. They actually get into the room and they find...
There is money going.
Yes. They find the documentation. So when everybody gets back to the Phoenix Foundation, Bozer and Riley are there and it's like, hey, guess what? Nikki wasn't lying. There is some informant. We don't know who it is.
Well, it was almost... So Nikki was going to go away, but the two of them were going to... Shelley, Amy Acker's character's name again? Sarah. Those 3 are going to be in trouble. They're in like, you're missing your wedding.
Yes.
And you 2 are here because they're going to be going through. You went off reservation with a known terrorist trying to help her. You guys are in trouble. You guys are in some. You're not going to jail, but you're getting some serious crap here. Which was like, oh.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way they kind of made it seem so creepy, like oversight. Like when oversight comes, I'm never going to see you guys again.
Yeah.
And so when Bozer and Riley say, hey, guess what? We've got this financial information. We just need to follow who the real identity of this person. It'll tell us. And all of a sudden, Mac realizes, like, you know what? Somebody.
I know who it is.
Yeah. And so at that point, you had to know. No.
Well, I have to think back because I don't remember. I think I was kind of like, wait a minute. Because we haven't seen any other major characters introduced. I'm like, they're not going to drop someone randomly into the episode and go, oh my gosh, you were the bad guy?
Yeah.
So I was like, and then when she came into the room, it was just Mac and she, like, didn't she have to say something? And she came into the room to talk to Mac and
yeah, that's when you're saying, like, Oversight's going to come and take you guys away and I'm probably never going to see you again.
And then Riley and Bozer came in behind her.
Yeah.
And they dimmed the door so that it was all screened off. When that happened, so they dropped it off.
And they dropped the bomb like, hey, guess what, Thornton? We know it's you.
I'm so torn on this because I want to know, was this planned from the beginning? Yeah. Was this a actress didn't like the show, wanted off out of her full-time contract, which I don't think an actor ever wants off, wants work? Or was it a Bozer situation where her character was really not anything? Like, I shouldn't say not anything. She would be in there, she'd give the missions, and then she'd be at the end to clean up.
Yeah.
A couple times she would join them in the field, but again, to me, anytime she was in the field, it was like, this is weird. Why would your head be out in the field with you? Remember that one episode? I think it was with Murdoch. She's in the pantsuit with heels on. We're like, she should be in like some tactical gear. She never did anything like that. She was always like her office attire out in the field. And we're like, you don't send the head out. It's kind of like sending James Bond, M.
Yes.
Out in the field with him. M doesn't go.
Or Captain Picard, something like that.
Yeah, he sends his away team.
Yes.
So that always struck weird. I mean, that position always, you need that. You need to have someone giving him the orders. So it's not like the writers were like, well, let's just get rid of the character. You need someone there like that to shepherd it. But was the actress getting frustrated with the way the character was going? I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I don't. Because it's like I applaud the show for making like a big change. Like, oh my gosh, like the head of this is corrupt. So now that changes. But then I also feel like, man, was this really earned? Because as they're breaking down, like you was dissuading us from going after Nikki, and that in itself wouldn't have made me made me suspicious of her.
She
like,
was always like that. Yeah.
Because as she says, like I was just looking out for you guys. And I just felt like, okay, so you're gonna make it her. And when they say at the end, like, she's so good at this, she's never going to tell us anything. She's going to be quiet. Like, well, so that's frustrating. So we're never going to know anything.
Right.
So when they like, is it disillusionment? Is it the money? Is it what?
Yeah. You mean the actress is a disillusionment money? Is that what
just
you're saying?
The character.
The character. Yeah. I kind of now talk about it with you. I think this was planned from the beginning. I think they didn't know when it was going to happen. This is interesting. I was talking to some writers recently, and we were talking about storyboarding and storyboarding a season, and they've got this giant cork board up with all the characters' names on it. And I think they were using Friends as an analogy with Friends. Like they had all the characters in Friends, and they knew Ross and Rachel would get together. They knew that from the beginning. But you could see watching all 10 seasons where in certain seasons, like, if they weren't going to get another season, you could see where Ross and Rachel would have gotten together here. Yeah. But since they got another season, then they did this, and so I think they knew where they wanted to go with her. I think the whole season, I think they wanted to know where to go with all these characters, but it's a matter of when they're going to get there. So I think this was always planned because it's a complete different turn from the original. The original, Mac and Thornton were buds to the end.
Wow.
Yeah, they never had anything like this. From what I remember, they were always in it.
Now, do you think that this possibly could be where Thornton is being set up by somebody else?
No, I think she's it.
She's it?
Yeah, I would love to see this. Like, we talk an organization with Nikki, now we got Murdoch kind of involved. I would love to see this as kind of a Spectre organization like Bond has, where it's a constant threat that is always there, a rival to the Phoenix Foundation, if you will, that is kind of chaos and anarchy to their law and order. I think that's going to be cool. Where I would like to see the actress again, and maybe now she's in custody, or but then now you've got her and Murdoch. That's kind of the two same things. I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know. I think
you could see her teaming up with Murdoch at some point.
Well, there's always so much behind the scenes stuff. You never know if that's involved.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they bring in to replace her and what that dynamic's going to be.
Or is, I don't know.
Because they need somebody, because they can't just do it all themselves.
You need that position.
Yeah.
This back half of the, and again, remember, I want to say, again, this could go to that. Remember, they were only given a half-season order.
That's true.
Which episode is this episode?
This 13? Episode 12.
12. I think they were given 11 or 13. I want to say 11, because then this would have been the new one back, and then they got a new order.
Yeah.
So this might have been, maybe they were planning to do this at the end, and this was going to. I don't know. There's so much behind the scenes stuff that happens with TV shows that you never really know the full story.
Do you think this is the last we've seen of Thornton?
No. I don't know. I'm sorry. I went silent right there.
Yeah.
I really.
Because you're contemplating it.
Yeah, I don't. It's because there's so much involved as an actress, and she did well on the show. It wasn't like a Bozer situation where they got to do something with this character. She served a purpose. Bozer originally, there was no purpose for him. I think he's definitely, his arc is definitely improved in the show. But for her, her screen time when she was on made a point. She was their mission person. She was the head. So you need that character. I don't know.
there was one interesting moment going back to Bozer right there in that scene with Murdoch where the first time they meet.
Yeah.
And I like how he keeps calling him Wilt the whole time. And he says, he's like, wow, so, Mac told you everything. So, now your life just got a lot more dangerous.
Yeah.
And Bozer says, as long as you're in here, I'm going to be totally fine. And then there's that cutaway to Murdoch, and it just made me think like, all right, Bozer, you are not long for this world.
No, he's going to go.
I was like,
I think so.
Man.
And I think we talked about that when he first happened. When he first found out, I was like, oh, he's going to die.
Yeah.
The tone of the show, to me, and again, it's CBS, and I don't know what this is. Like, do you ever watch Person of Interest?
Not that much.
Okay. I found out, I knew about it, but I started watching it on Netflix. People recommended it to me, and I really enjoy it. It has such a different look and feel, even though it's a CBS show. CBS shows have a very similar look. A lot of people think, some people think they're cheap. I actually think they have very high production value, especially like Person of Interest. I think it shot a lot in New York. This shoots in Atlanta, so there's a different feel to it. That seems a little heavy to me to kill off him.
Yeah.
For this show. This show, it kind of has a light vibe. Everything is kind of, even like in the beginning of the episode, the titles come up, Dangerous Place or whatever, whatever it said. It looked kind of like cleanish. It's just and again, guys, if you're listening or watching it, it's a different eye that I'm looking at. It's a production eye that throws me off, or some TV shows that I'm really getting drawn into, like Person of Interest. Just the grittiness and the realism and the way that they shot it just created a different tone and environment. When main characters killed off on that show, it just fit with the style. This, to kill off Bozer, it doesn't fit at all with the show to me.
I guess because since the same executive producer also has Hawaii Five-0, they really put those characters through their paces.
Yeah.
But they don't kill any of them off.
Do you watch Hawaii Five-0?
I do.
These two shows look completely different, don't they?
They do.
Like, everything feels very soundstagey to me, whereas Hawaii Five-0, and again, they shoot in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. It feels location. It feels like even their offices.
Yes.
Feels like, that's a building they're renting out. Whereas this, it's all like the Phoenix Foundation. It's all soundstage.
Very true.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what I'm feeling. Again, it's the whole feel of the show to me.
Yeah.
I could see them putting him in the hospital and go, guys, this isn't for me. I'm going back to making movies. Like that, to me, instead of killing him, would be the way that the show went with it.
Yeah, but given these last few episodes, and especially this one, he's showing why he's a good asset to the show.
And what's different, too, is this is a great Murdoch-Bozer. That's the rivalry. It's not Murdoch and MacGyver, which was the original show. So again, it's the writers letting the show breathe and finding the life, and I think that's great.
No, I do dig that. And what I liked about because they had Bozer and Riley together for this whole episode, but I like that they just dialed back and like, oh hey, do I get a phone number? Do I get a digit? Now that they've kind of resolved that issue,
never happened.
We can just let them just be together and just not worry about like.
I want them to say,
"I love you."
She's like,
"You complete me,"
or something. I was like, "Kids, well, you got her numbers." Like, past that. This is my new girl. Just something like that. Just throw it out there because
I got a new boo.
Because that was like coming in, that whole number thing. I was like, that's cute, but then it didn't resolved.
Well,
like, you never ask about my numbers anymore. I was like, I gave up.
Well, no,
meet so and so.
He got him at Christmas time.
Did he?
Yeah, she gave him all the rest of the numbers. After she helped. After
the episode you did by yourself, because I thought I watched
maybe
the last
I did do one. Yeah, that was one where they helped rescue his mom, or Riley's mom.
I thought I watched that one.
I think I may have done that by myself.
You did do it by yourself.
Yes.
Don't think you.
I did.
Just know you did. Because I know I wasn't here.
Yep. Just know I did it.
I thought I caught up that one.
Yeah, but she did get the 7 digits.
Well, that's my fault.
Bozer's got all 10 digits of that number. He's blown that text up.
But he sees her every day.
Yeah.
He's get blown up.
Yeah, late night text. Yeah.
All right.
What you doing?
Hey.
Sup.
Thinking about you.
Yeah. Just that little sup. That's all you need.
Sup.
That's like, all right.
With this.
Yeah.
Emoji. Sup. No, the glasses.
That's right.
Sup.
So before we get ready to wrap up, why don't we do this, as we talked about, this is a big game changer of an episode.
Huge.
Why don't we give a few predictions about where we think the rest of the season is going to take us?
I think this is a new ball game. Again, I'm so happy.
AFTERBUZZ TV prediction.
Yes, I think it is. I think it's a game changer. Like we said, I think they've hit their stride. I want to see more episodes like this. I think it wasn't the, stuck in a room type scenario where they've got a situation, and by the end, I want to see less of the gadgets. Or not gadgets, less of the building stuff like this episode. It worked for me so well. Just everything about it. I think sometimes when things don't work, it sticks out, like constantly having to build stuff when they could have just done this.
Yeah.
So, but as far as the big bad, I think they're going to go after this organization now.
That seems what they're setting up for. And I'll be curious to see how long Murdoch stays incarcerated.
He'll get out.
February or May sweeps.
No sweeps. I think he kills Thornton too. I think maybe the organization says, "Hey, it's you or her."
Yeah. Well, who's it going to be? Oh, all right.
I don't think either of them's not going to talk.
Yeah.
But I want to see this develop into some kind of organization that they've got to go against. And again, that could go against them and help them, so it's not just episode or problem of the week. The team is here doing this, which is the format for this show. But I think proving in this episode when it's long form and ties together, it's really well. I think they need to go on the offensive now and go after this organization. They've had two major problems, and they've been reactionary.
Yes.
Time to go positive.
I like that idea.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm going to go with that. We're going to figure out more about this organization now that Nikki's back on the side of the Angels, so to speak, and so she's going to keep pursuing this organization. I don't think she's going to be on the team, but I think she's definitely going to get in over her head at some point, where she's going to need the rest of the team to kind of back her up. So I'll be curious to see how that interaction takes place. One last thing before we wrap up, though, you did mention that scene at the end where Jack and Matt go to watch Sarah's wedding, and there's that moment where it's like, if anybody has any objections, speak now or forever hold your peace. And she looks at Jack.
She looked in the middle of the wedding.
Yep.
And was she on the wrong side of the groom?
That seemed like it should have been flipped.
Yeah.
That seemed weird to me.
There's a lot of problems behind the scenes with this one. Yeah. The guiding light, she should have been on the other side. But I think because he was sitting on the side of the bride's family, because they're on the left side, faced with the bride, left. It's not opposites.
Yeah.
And she did the look to him.
I feel like if somebody you're marrying looks away into the crowd at that moment, I feel like, are you looking? Are you worried or are you hoping?
And that, because if I'm my husband looking at you, we're getting married, and you're off. Focus. Who are you looking at? Who's out there?
Yes.
Oh, that guy. Oh. That guy that I said should come.
Yeah. All right. Great. You want to be with him? Fine. This is done. But he doesn't. Jack just puts his head down.
Yeah.
What a gentleman. Yeah. Good cry.
And he's crying too. He's starting to cry. Good man. He's a good man.
He just cries.
He kind of is like, "Yep, I'm okay."
All right. So that's going to do it for this episode of the MacGyver After Show. You can, as always, folks, like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody, for hopping in on the chat. We'll be back next week breaking down another episode of MacGyver. We're going to be breaking down the rest of the episodes for this entire season. Woo! Yeah, if you want to continue the conversation with us even after the show's over, Mike, where can they find you?
At Mike Kalinowski.
That's right. And if you want to make an offer for his web domain, tweet him an offer.
10,000 is the minimum so far. Let's see what we got going on.
Let's see what we can get. And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back here next Sunday night, 11 o'clock, for another episode of MacGyver After Show here at AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.